On the next Empire Report, the Terra Gazette's Riley Rudin finds herself in hot water. Did she really visit Spider before filing her report on its underground biological goods market? Or is there more to this story than meets the eye? Our investigation has uncovered new details.
Citizen versus civilian. A recent report reveals that the economic gap between the two has increased yet again. Courtney Trevor hits the streets to see if people's personal spending has taken a hit.
Are you a Moby-Glass addict? Dr. Shirley Wood's new book claims that using it too much could be ruining your life. Stay tuned to learn the telltale warning signs. All that and more on the next Empire Report at 2200 SET.
Everybody, welcome to episode 53 of Around the Verse. I'm Sandy Gardner.
And I'm Ben Lesnick.
Chris Roberts is back. The Squadron 42 shoot is over, and after a brief visit to Foundry 42 Germany, Chris is back in the cockpit in Santa Monica. Good to have him home.
Very good to have him home. In fact, we've got a couple pictures of his visit to Germany if you guys would like to check them out. If anyone out there is ever wondering how hard Chris Roberts really works, his plane landed at LAX at 4:30, and then he was here at 6 p.m. on Saturday working on the PowerPoint for Comic-Con with us.
That is correct. The 300 series Free Fly wraps up tomorrow, and we are always looking for feedback, so please let us know what you think.
I see some great comprehensive threads in the 300. People are really putting it through its paces.
Arena Commander 1.15 is coming. If all goes as planned, we will launch 1.15 to the PTU this week.
Hopefully later today. We shoot this show on Tuesday, so if it's not going to come out today, the disclaimer goes right here.
And there's going to be 2 flyable ships in there.
Yes, the Merlin will be available for everybody, and the Scythe will be unlocked for those who have pushed it in the past or earned it through their subscription credits.
Ooh, I'm excited about that one. Development of Star Marine continues. Check out Friday's comlink for the latest update from Jason Hutchins.
And there's a poll in there to pick out your favorite of the gun sites in the module, which one will be the kind of stock gun site. Check them out. There's animated GIFs showing them all. Pick your favorite and let us know.
My favorite is the ghost one.
Oh, that's I think it's winning right now.
Is it?
As of right now, but you guys can change history.
Finally, we closed out Comic-Con on Sunday, and we had a very fun panel.
Yes, it was very Chris-dominated, as such things should be. Chris and Dave Haddock kind of walked us through the lore of Star Citizen, the background story of the universe that we set up before we told any particular story, basically how we got to hear from there. Sandy and I didn't really get into word in edgewise, but it was great to see backers. We had a very good time.
We did have a very good time. It was nice to actually see some backers in person, because at bigger events it's harder to get time. So Now let's go to the Spectrum for news from around the verse.
Hey everyone, welcome back to not so sunny Southern California at Cloud Imperium Games in Los Angeles and Santa Monica. My name is Darian Vorlick, and bringing you the news today for this week, flying solo while everybody else is meeting, getting ready for the next patch. So with the next patch coming up, there's not too much to update that we haven't already said already. Right now we're working on the getting the Vandal scythe out the door, flyable for you guys. I got to kind of take a sneak peek at that, and we've got some really cool features for it in store for you. Same thing as well as the finishing touches up on the Merlin. So it's turning out to be a pretty sweet, pretty slick vehicle. I think you guys will love that one as well. Finally, last week I mentioned that one of our tech designers, Matt Sherman, was working on incorporating a lot of the balancing feedback from you guys. So we've incorporated that, presented it to Chris Roberts, and the next step is getting that approved. I believe most of it has been approved, so we're just doing a few tweaks here and there. Maybe possible a couple more balance meetings just to make sure that when it goes out, you guys will be happy with those changes. And just keep in mind that as we make these tweaks, it is an iterative process. So Even if they're not perfect on day one, we go back to the drawing board, see what else we can tweak for that. So after that, we just keep on iterating from there. So that's all I've got for Santa Monica today. So once again, I'm Darian Vorlick, signing off.
Hey guys, Dave Langoliers here again, senior producer at Elphonic. A couple things I wanted to talk to you about today. The first one is the changes we've been putting in for the hologram gadget. So you may have seen during our, I think it was our PAX Australia presentation, we had a hologram gadget where you can put it down and it makes a little hologram of the player, similar to what you've seen in like Total Recall. So we made some changes to that as far as making it retain the stance that the player laid it down in. So if you're crouched when you lay it down, it's going to show up as crouched. We've also made it so that it can, if it gets hit by projectiles like bullets, it will phase in and out. So there's a small visual read that it's not actually a player when it's getting hit. So that's another change that's gone into it. Gadgets and grenades overall have been, there's been some work on there where before you had to select them in your hand before you could use them. Now it's more of a quick throw action. So if it's a grenade, you're just instantly, pulling it off and throwing it. If it's a gadget, you're throwing it down on the ground. You don't have to walk around and find a way to place it. In addition to that, cooking is in for grenades. So you can take a grenade, hold on to it, click the button, it'll start counting down, and then so you can throw it like right as it's about to explode. The risk for that is if you hold on to it a little bit too long, you're going to blow up with the grenade. Or if you get shot, the grenade will fall to the ground and blow up after you die. Last changes I wanted to talk about this week are changes to the shotgun. So the electric shotgun that we have, we've been putting in some animations between shots. For one, we found that the weapon was a little bit overpowered with how fast it could fire. So we've been slowing down the timing on that. But we've been adding in some animation to support that. So in between shots now, there will be a cocking animation on the shotgun, even though it is electrical. And also some vents opening up on the side and dispelling energy. So just a couple things to communicate to the player that the weapon isn't ready to fire yet for the next shot. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this week, guys. Thanks again. I'll talk to you next week.
Hey guys, this is Jason Hutchins, senior producer here in Austin, Texas. I just got back from Denver working at Elphonic on the FPS module that we're doing. And I'm just now getting back into the groove here in Austin, talking about what we're working on for Gamescom demo, what we're working on for our various other things for the persistent universe. And a lot of the guys here are helping out with the FPS, helping out with Gamescom demo, and just our other work. With me here today, I've got Justin Binford from Quality Assurance.
Hey guys.
So tell them a bit about what you are up to.
So we're spending a lot of time right now testing the new 115 that's coming out soon. And with the new 115, we got the new ship, the Scythe, and the Merlin. So we're giving a lot of feedback. When a new ship comes out, there's a lot of back and forth sometimes to get it right. So we're giving a lot of feedback on that. There's also some balance changes coming down the line, so we're giving feedback on that. And mostly just trying to check everything to make sure it all comes together smoothly. And then we're also testing the Gamescom demo, which includes the large world map, the local physics grid / multi-crew, and it also includes the new quantum drive. And so we're going through the new features for the Gamescom demo, as well as the we're going to be continuing to be testing first-person shooter with our company-wide playtest that's coming up this week.
And a note about those internal company-wide playtests that we're doing for the first-person shooter. Those aren't all fun and games, right? Like this kind of testing is really just making sure that the backbone is working and our net code issues are being addressed. And so what that means is a lot of times we'll have 8 or 12 or 16 guys just waiting around to kind of join a match, and then getting into a match and then not being able to kill each other because we got to get the metrics, for the servers and see how they're going. It's not a lot of fun. After that, sometimes we do get to run around and shoot each other in the face, which is fun. But really, this is kind of the boring stuff that we have to do to make sure that this stuff is right before we get it in the players' hands.
Yeah, there's a lot of focus testing where we have to make sure that any blockers that claimed fixed are for sure fixed. But yeah, it's definitely, we're seeing a huge improvement as the days go by.
Yep. All right, I think that's it for us. Thanks a lot, guys.
Hi, I'm John Crew, lead technical designer here at Foundry 42. We're camped out in one of the audio booths that was mentioned in the monthly report. So it's all colourful, very sound absorbing, which is quite weird to be sat in here because it's very quiet and you don't hear any echoes. This week I'm joined by...
I'm Johnny Savicius. I'm another technical designer here at Foundry 42.
Cool. So I'm going to talk a little bit about FPS, which is what I'm looking at here pretty much full time now. I'm dealing with the balancing of all the weapons, the gadgets, the armor, the grenades. Something we're really looking at the moment is pushing the difference between the ballistic and energy weapons in terms of recoil, how much they deviate when you're firing them, the damage type they're doing, rather than it just all being solid impacts. Obviously with lasers you don't have mass behind them. So we're doing little things there to make it feel different from both you shooting and being hit by them. Tweaking the new grenades that have come in from Ilphonic, so they've got interesting behaviors, so it's not just defaulting to a frag grenade every time. Tweaking the gadgets so they're quick to use, fun to use, have uses in the levels. And really just nailing down the armor and the breathing between light, medium and heavy armors, so each has a good use and role. And you're going to talk about
Vandal stuff. I've primarily been working on the Vandal ships, mainly the capital ships, so I've been sort of working with art to make sure we all know where weapons are going to be placed, what size the weapons are, how many weapons they have. We don't want the Vandal ships to come in and completely blow the UE out the water, so we want them to be fairly balanced between the two. I've also been working on the Stinger and the Void Bomber, which are the equivalent sort of the Retaliator in the F8. So we've got the Heavy Fighter and the Bomber. So we've been doing basic flight setup on those just to make sure we know where all the thrusters and weapons need to be placed and just make sure everything's working properly. And then we've been doing a bit of setup on the Argo, which is Squadron 42's industrial workhorse. And that's coming along quite nicely. I've been working with another technical designer on that very recently, so I'm sure you'll hear more about that soon.
Yep. Cool. So yeah, we'll hopefully show lots more of that soon, both the Vandal and the FPS. That's it for us. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Big thank you to our studios from around the world.
We had a chance to sit down with Zane and talk about the Merlin UI. Take it away, Mr. Bien.
Hi, I'm Zane Bien. I'm a UI designer here at Cloud Imperium Games, and I'm here to take you through the process in designing the Merlin HUD and UI, as well as implementing it. When we redesigned the Merlin, we kind of gave it a pretty sleek shape. There's a lot of sleek, kind of sports car inspired shapes to this ship. So on the interior, we have this cool looking screen, and I wanted to do something cool with it. I wanted to make it feel fast and you know, not like completely utilitarian like, you know, modern fighter jet, but more like a high-end sports car. That's what I was kind of going in the direction of with my UI design. So here is the standalone version of the UI. You guys have seen this in the sneak peek, but this was designed to kind of fit into that console dashboard as well as the HUD screen. And I wanted to give it a very kind of unique look to it. You know, it feels like it's a whole different HUD. So all of these components are, you know, functional, and it's all functionality-wise. It takes pretty much everything that you see in the current HUD and remaps it and reskins it onto the screens in the Merlin and conforms to their shapes and sort of design language. So you can see kind of these lines have a really, they follow the geometry. So in this design, you can see sort of these nice lines that kind of flow along the edges or the bezel of this console. And I think that really gives it a cool look. So after I kind of completed this sort of standalone base design, I wanted to make a mock-up of how I would like to have it look in game. So here it is, kind of in situation, kind of with these cool effects and everything. So these are Photoshop mock-ups, and then from here, I went ahead and I implemented it. So here's what we can expect to see in game. So as many of you already know, the Aurora was our initial test case into getting a unique diegetic UI into the ship. So I wanted to take what I learned from that and apply it to the Merlin, just because the interior looks so cool and I wanted it to really feel unique. So this kind of represents what our next evolutionary step is in this process of getting each ship their own unique UI. Some of it will probably be standardized per manufacturer. So as you go between manufacturers, they'll have similar looks and similar design languages. So I think that's really cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed this sneak peek, and I look forward to hearing what you guys think about it.
Thank you, Zane. That UI looks very slick.
I think everything that Zane does is quite slick, though, really, isn't it?
Yes, he's the real wizard behind the Merlin.
Very good at what he does. What?
2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up to that.
James also had a chance to talk to Chris Smith while he was here in Santa Monica. Take it away, James.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with a very special guest. I have principal ship artist Chris Smith. Chris, how you doing, man?
Hey, man. How's it going?
It's good to have you on. Yeah, it's good to have you back on. I think you are the first person we've ever had 2 interviews with.
Really?
Yeah.
The second one. Wow. I'm in the 2-timer club now.
Yeah, are you honored?
Say that.
I think.
I
honestly think that might be the case. So since we saw you last, what have you been working on?
Well, since you see me last, which is, I don't know, months ago.
6 months ago?
Yeah. I've been working on Constellation this whole time, believe it or not. But yeah, so it's started on Constellation earlier this year, and Josh Coons and I, we've been, just plugging away at it, trying to get it in with our new ship pipeline, and using that to our fullest advantage to get it out like pretty quickly. And the goal was to rework it, basically make it look better than it has, bring it up to the visual standards that we have all the other ships now. And also, like, the big thing was like integrate it into the proper pipeline and go from the start to the end properly with the ship. I imagine it's kind of a test case for how we're going to revamp or remodel future ships, looking at how we can take this iconic ship like the Constellation and try and bring it up to speed. Is any of those processes you're seeing are permeating throughout the rest of the ships? Yeah, I mean, most of the new ships so far have gone through that treatment. The Constellation is one of the only ones so far that we've sort of reworked because it's going to be one of our main multi-crew ships besides the Retaliators. It's supposed to be like a proof of concept thing, like multi-crew ship-wise, right? So that's why we had to basically redo this one. I think in the future with like older ships, maybe we might be leaning in towards the direction of, instead of a redo, more like an evolution. So we'll basically keep like an old ship, and then we'll make a new ship, that is better and more efficient for a game, and it'll be like the 2016 Hornet or something like that. Yeah, I've heard that. That's pretty smart. Yeah. So the way I look at the Connie, it's sort of what's going to lead us to AC 2.0 and multi-crew, right? We have to make sure that one's good to go first, and then we can expand from there. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, the Retaliator is a little bit further ahead as far as getting it flight ready and everything for multi-crew. We're basically getting the Constellation up to that standard, we're doing it in a quicker time. That's the goal, and we hope to be done very soon with this guy. So. Is there any sort of AC 2.0 features that you're having to kind of redesign around? If that makes any sense? So far, no. I mean, a couple of design features. Like the big thing will be, integrating all the modular pieces, shield generators, all that stuff, and making sure there's place for that and design. There's just a couple of things that are outstanding design-wise that won't be in the 2.0, I think, but everything else should be there, and we're building the Connie out to where it's just going to be ready, for all the next versions and everything.
So you went from doing TNGS straight into the Connie?
No, not really. There was some Mustang variation time, I think. We had there was quite a few months on reworking ship pipelines and working together with UK and those guys and getting everything, just focusing on, instead of making a new ship right away, take a step back and then reevaluate what we need to do to make these ships come out better and faster. So I would spend some time with that, working with the guys in the UK, and then I started the Connie. Then it was discussion like, oh, we need to rework this and that. So, and then we got thrown in that, and that was earlier this year. So there wasn't too much. When was the end of TGN? I don't even know when that ended. Was that the last?
About a year ago. It's over a year ago at this point.
It's over a year ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that was one of the first things I had done here.
Yeah. God, it's so long. It seems like 2 months ago. No, I mean, yeah, I think most of the things I was doing was like the Mustang variances and getting that on the road, and all the racing versions and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So what's next? What's the next ship you're going to be working on after you get the Connie out the door?
That is a good question. I don't know myself, actually. I guess I sort of have a pick if I wanted to. But once we get this out, I really have no idea. Yeah. I'll make sure to pick out something cool for myself.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Man. Thanks.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, James. I guess you could say it's beginning to look a lot like Chris Smith.
Let's check in with Lisa Ohanian with this week's episode of Shipshape. Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Shipshape. This week, we're going to be talking a little bit about our damage tech. Now, we've mentioned our new damage system before, but we haven't explained it in a lot of depth. So on this week's episode, I want to feature it. I want to tell you guys a little bit about what we're doing differently, what that means for us, and then show you guys some images of how it's going to look different for you. A lot of people ask us questions, why are you redoing all of those ships? And most of the time, it's either for modularity or for damage tech. We're aspiring to eventually upgrade all of our ships so that they have this new damage system. Now, the first thing to understand in order to understand our damage tech is UV layers. UV layers are essentially the mapping of 2D textures onto a 3D model. The model itself, you guys have seen images on this show of gray boxes and white boxes. The first UV layer is the finished layer. It's the colors, it's the text, it's the decals, anything you normally see when you look at a finished ship. The second UV layer for us is what shows damage. When the second UV layer is showing all the way through, this makes a ship look battle-worn. We also make use of vertex colors in our new damage system. And this is sort of a mapping onto our model of which areas can show certain types of damage. For example, we've got an image of the Merlin and the vertex colors for this ship here to show you guys. You'll notice that the pink areas of the ship tend to be more substantial. They have more strength to them. They tend to be at the core of the ship. The blue areas on this map, this tends to be a little bit more peripheral or a more sensitive section that might take different or more damage or show it more easily. For example, if you shoot this ship in one of the pink areas, you might see a bullet hole mark. Whereas if you shoot it in the blue area, that same hit might actually make a hole in that area of the ship. One of the things we're most excited about with our new damage system is the degree of detail when you're inflicting damage to other ships. For example, if you used to shoot the wing of another ship, you'd see the wing start to take damage and maybe some particle effects come off. With our new damage system, when you inflict damage to another ship, you will see scorch marks or a punctured hole in exactly the location, exactly the shape of the weapon you used to inflict it. Now we're going to show you guys some video examples of our old damage system versus our new damage system.
This, as many of you know, is the M50 Interloper, and this ship still has our old damage tech. You can see as you shoot and inflict damage to it that it doesn't react in a very detailed way. You'll still see some particle effects, you'll still see the damage happening, but it's not the detailed level like I mentioned before. It's a little bit more like an old school boss fight where you hit a certain bar and everything about the ship in that area changes. Next up is the Merlin, which has our new damage system. If you look at when you shoot and do damage to this ship, you'll see that now it shows a lot more customized damage. It depends on the weapon you're using. You can see that the burn marks left are correlative to that gun and shaped just like it in exactly the location that you're doing damage to the ship. As opposed to the whole old school boss fight example from before, this is a lot more realistic and can add layers of strategy as players decide what they want to target and how it might affect the ship. That's it for this week, everyone. Hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about our new damage tech and seeing the Merlin in action. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Lisa. Star Citizen may be the only game where you actually want to see your ship horribly destroyed.
The Merlin is coming. It will be available as a $20 add-on ship.
The Merlin will patch with 1.15. We'll make it available for sale and rental with rec once it goes to the live server, not the PTU. It's a cool, fast little ship. We're looking forward to see what people do with racing, and just general dogfighting should be pretty interesting. If you already have any variation of the constellation except the Taurus or the Carrack or the 890 Jump, you will get a Merlin attributed to your account, either to keep or to test, depending on what you're waiting for in terms of littler ships.
We need your Arena Commander footage for Around the Verse. You can submit cool video on the forums to use as bumpers for the show.
Subscribers can look forward to a brand new episode of Jump Point this week. Jump Point, it's what's for dinner. Eventually that's going to make sense, but not now.
We'd like to thank Eris for sending us in a bunch of Star Citizen coasters.
Yes, he made these himself. They are cool, hand-cut, hand-decorated Star Citizen coasters, which he made quite a few of. We thank you very much, Eris. We have coasters probably for the rest of the project now.
Next week, we're bringing MVP back. Feel free to submit your choices for the very best RSI forum thread and posts.
Yes, and Sandy and I will be announcing MVP, so be nice to us and maybe you'll win.
We will, I just found that out. And of course, we'll leave you with an art sneak peek.
Here it is. This is picture of coasters. And be sure to tune in to Reverse the Verse tomorrow at 11 Pacific on Twitch. We'll be answering your questions about that sneak peek and Star Citizen in general.
Thank you to all the subscribers for making this show possible. We will see you next week on
Around the Verse.
I love that you're making a mess of that.
Sandy, Sandy,
yeah, right?
Sandy.
No, but see, but you're actually supposed to walk with them. Yeah. That would be the trick.
Don't get it.
You're like a human Jenga.
Huh? Oh yeah. Now you have to take one of the coasters out somewhere in there. Ooh, hold on. Ooh.
Oh. Hello, I'm Ben Lesnick. I'm here to deliver an important message to our world leaders. Deliver us, I don't know, Cheez-Its or something. And, and we won't destroy the Santa Monica Pier.
I like how your important message to world leaders as soon as Cheez-Its or something.